Hi, it's Dre Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we discuss the importance of building a diversified income portfolio. So these are very fancy words, but all we're really saying is how do we take our money? We're going to have this money as we get ready to retire, and we create these multiple streams of income. As I mentioned to you guys, the IRS has shown us that there are about 7 streams of income that they recognize, and I'll place them up on the screen so that you can see them. And normally we're not going to be looking at earned income because we're retiring. So we don't want to actively work for our money anymore. That means we'll be looking at these other 6 streams of income to figure out how we can choose at least 3 of them. And why do I always tell you guys to look for 3 streams of income? That's because the numbers show that 65% of self made millionaires have at least 3 streams of income. And for you to be able to retire and have the comfort and the lifestyle that you're looking for, the numbers are showing us that most people are estimating somewhere around $1.7 million is what they'll need to have in retirement. Now, granted, if you take multiple streams of income into consideration, sometimes that number could be a lot lower. And what I mean is, if you're just only invested in the stock market, well, we know that the way that that works is we normally use the rule of 1000, which says for every about $270,000 that you have in an investment account, that will generate about $1,000 a month in retirement income. And so, if that's the only income that you have, then that will actually take a little bit more money than if you were to invest in real estate or own your own business. And the main reason is leverage. You're able to leverage your money a little bit better when you're investing in real estate because, as you know, you normally only have to put down about 20% to buy the house. What that means is if I only have to put down 20%, I can buy more houses with that same $270,000. It's not that I'm buying one house worth $270,000. I buy multiple houses that I only have to pay 20% down. That same principle is also true when you're looking to buy a business. If you were to go into one of these business brokerage directories, I think the numbers show that there's about 70-ish% of businesses that are just closing, where the person who owned the business is retiring and their kids weren't interested in it and they weren't quite able to figure out how to sell the business. Oftentimes that's because the business wasn't designed in a way to be sold. And normally when I'm saying that, and normally when someone's looking at this, is you don't want a business that's very dependent on one person. Because if that person is the business, they are the brand, then when you sell it, it's not going to be worth as much because that person is a huge part of the business. Now, if that person agrees to stay on as a consultant or some sort of a brand ambassador, well, maybe it can make sense for them to sell the business as long as they're a part of it. But a lot of times when we're retiring, we're not necessarily interested in continuing to work in the business. If I was going to continue working in the business, I just would have kept it anyways. That gives you a beautiful opportunity to purchase some of these businesses that maybe is something that would be a hobby for you. If it's a hobby that pays you, I feel like that's a great situation because in retirement, we're less interested in finding ways to work for money as much as we're finding ways for money to work for us. And that means that if we do choose to work, we should be focusing on happiness, fulfillment, things that I want to do with my time, and less about how much money it pays me. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't situations where we do have to make strategic decisions because the money is just not there. There is a gap, and we went over that in another video, and I'll put a link to it for you because all options are normally on the board if we're not able to bridge the gap. And then we can figure out what makes the most sense for us based on your unique particular situation and something that you're very comfortable with. So, normally, when we talk about building a diversified portfolio, a great place to start is Social Security. And normally, when we're talking about maximizing Social Security, and I'll put another video where I'll go through some of that in a lot more detail. But really, what we're saying is there's sort of 3 things that we're really considering. One is, can I work a little bit longer so that I don't have to access my Social Security? Two is, do I have some sort of an income stream that I can access that only lasts for about 8 years where I don't have to access my Social Security at 62, but I could wait till 70? And then that way I'm able to increase the amount of money that I receive from my Social Security each year. On average, it goes up about 8% each year that you don't touch your Social Security. And the third part of maximizing your Social Security benefits is often going to be how do I figure out what I should be expecting to get? And that really comes down to you being able to calculate your Social Security benefits. I do have another video where I go in great detail about how to calculate your Social Security benefits, and I'll put a link to it for you. But many times people will say, well, Dre, I'll just simply look at the estimate and I'll see what I'm estimated to get. And while that can be beneficial, it's not always correct. And I've gone over other times where people are being given too much money from Social Security office, and when they realize it, they then take the money back. The fine print of your Social Security says that anytime that they give you an overpayment, they can take that money from your future payments. And sometimes they take all of it, where they'll say, we're not going to send you a check for the next 3, 6, 8 months. Sometimes they'll say, we'll give you half of what you're going to receive, and we'll do that for the next 12 to 24 months. And for the majority of Americans, their number one income stream in retirement is their Social Security benefits. Now, naturally, Social Security will say, look, we don't think you should have only Social Security as your benefit. With the average Social Security check being about $1,800 a month, and then the highest is somewhere slightly over $4,000, you can see how this may not work for most people. And there's something called a bend curve, which is a very fancy way of saying that as you make more money, you receive less of a percentage of your income. And we're not saying that it's going to go to zero. What we're saying is basically if you were supposed to get $1,000 a month for Social Security, they may only have enough income coming in to pay 70% of their claims. So instead of you receiving $1,000 a month, you would only have received $700 a month. That's what we mean when we say Social Security is estimated to run out of money somewhere around 2040. It's not that they won't give out any money, it's that they won't be able to give out all of what they promised to give you. The number that you've paid in and earned at least probably over the last 30 years of working. So when you think about Social Security, that's why it's so important to have diverse streams of income. We don't want to be tied to any one stream of income, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And a huge part of having future-proof income where you no longer have to worry about running out of money in retirement is because you have money being generated by multiple assets, creating multiple income streams for you. Well, that'll do it for today's video. Be on the lookout for the next video in the series. If you are someone who's planning on retiring in the next 5 years and want help feeling happy and not worried about it, don't worry, we got you. I invite you to go to obsidianwisdom.com/wealthy. I'll put a link in the show notes to learn more. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy life.